for questions.
Thanks a lot. Senator, thank you all for being here, and thank you all for your service. Chief Bumiller and Executive Director Davies, I was very interested in your testimony about fentanyl and Operation Blue Lotus, which seems to have been successful in increasing fairly drastically the interdiction of fentanyl at the border. As I read the numbers here, the rate of interdiction is roughly double or more, with 4,781 pounds of fentanyl in just 2 months, as compared to the 14,700 pounds in fiscal year 2022. And you talk here about NIA technology, about the sharing and collaboration on information, because the vast majority of fentanyl coming in to this country is at ports of entry, where this technology can be employed. Could you talk a little bit about the potentials for greater use of technology, information sharing? And I know you're in the middle of Operation Artemis right now. In relation to that operation, how these new forms of interdiction can be potentially important.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Senator. And so you're right, Operation Blue Lotus, from our perspective, was a huge success in terms of increasing the amount of interdiction of fentanyl that we saw over just a short period of time. I think, to your point about non-intrusive inspection technology, we know that we're scanning, I think somewhere around 90% of the interdictions we receive from a narcotics perspective come from non-intrusive inspection scans of a small percentage of the vehicles that are actually crossing our border. We don't have the existing infrastructure to scan much higher rates. We're appreciative that we have received funding from Congress. We're working on a plan to actually deploy more of our both large-scale and small-scale non-intrusive inspection technologies throughout the southwest border to focus on that. But as you pointed out, also Operation Artemis now is kind of the next level of the fentanyl fight for us, and really focusing on not just the interdiction of fentanyl itself, but the precursor chemicals, the pill presses, working with our international partners on sharing that information and addressing the criminal organizations that are working far beyond our borders to start the transshipment and movement of fentanyl into the United States.
How good is the information sharing with other law enforcement?
With other law enforcement in the United States, I think it's very, very good. We have a very robust process. We're certainly working to increase information sharing across our international partners and our international network. As you would expect, there are some international partners that we have far better information sharing capabilities with than others, but we're continually working to improve those.
Who are the good and who are the bad?
I'd rather not divulge that here.
That's okay. I understand fully. Mr. Davidson, how important is counsel, that is some kind of legal advice, in the interviews that are conducted for the credible fear interviews that are conducted?
It provides due process, Senator, and for the credible fear process, it's just not an attorney. The statute 203.30 allows for a non-citizen to choose anyone that person wants to consult with, be an attorney or a religious person or anything.
But maybe I wasn't clear in my question. In your experience, and I open this question to others as well, a person arriving at the border claiming a credible fear may not speak English, may have no idea what this credible fear thing is. The interview, the standard, no experience with any sort of objective, impartial justice system before. How important is a an advocate in explaining the process to that individual asylum seeker and in implementing the standard to elicit the important facts?
It's reasonably important, Senator. I mean, but the caveat to that is certainly that my colleagues at CBP and ICE also have an orientation process where they orient an individual seeking asylum to the credible fear interview itself through Form M44. I think an attorney can help supplement that too as well, and certainly that if an individual wants to seek counsel, then we provide access to counsel and ensure that individual has counsel, and if he so desires, and so it's an integral part of the process.
Do you think the numbers in your testimony, and I'm not sure I understand all of them, but you go through some numbers at the end of your testimony about different percentages. Do you think those percentages would change if more of those asylum seekers had counsel?
I think that's a fair point to make. I mean, I think that there is certainly a tendency to have different outcomes when there's counsel in certain instances, and so not in every instance, but certain instances, yes. I think an individual or a non-citizen who had sought counsel for a particular case has seen, you know, a positive outcome based on their counsel's representation.
And the general consensus seems to be that we don't have enough of the counsel, we don't have enough judges. In effect, our justice system, our immigration justice system, is lacking resources to fairly and effectively process those asylum seekers. Am I wrong?
I don't think that's a wrong statement as a generality in terms of our immigration courts being under-resourced, you know, DHS at this panel being under-resourced, certainly. DHS has painstakingly worked with our advocacy communities to ensure that there are groups that are sponsoring, you know, their attorneys for non-bono work, certainly. And we continue to advocate with our stakeholders to ensure that there is low-cost attorneys provided, if somebody so chooses to take that option.
Thank you. My time has expired. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.